Ancient Egyptians. Ancient Egypt was formed around 3,150 years BC, when the dependent city-states lining the River Nile united. Before ancient Egypt was formed, two rival nations emerged, Upper and Lower Egypt, each ruled by their own ruler. The ruler of Lower Egypt wore a red crown, and the ruler of Upper Egypt wore a white crown. Egypt was ruled by the pharaohs, the ruler of the lands who were regarded as gods amongst men. The pharaoh ruled by divine right, and everything in the land was his to command. As both kingdoms merged into one, the first ruler united both crowns, which was during the first dynasty. An interesting fact is that one of the rulers of Upper Egypt, before both kingdoms were united, was King Scorpion. Oh yeah, King Scorpion was a real historical figure, but it is pretty certain that he looked nothing like the Rock. The power structure in ancient Egypt was the following. The supreme ruler was the pharaoh, the god king. No one was allowed to use his name, and he was only referred as the lord of the two lands, and high priest of every temple. Great house of the Puria. He was often spoken into the third person. The second in command was the pharaoh's vizier. This position was held in high esteem, as that person was responsible for carrying out the pharaoh's wishes, raising the army, collecting taxes, creating new laws, and other things as well. And no, they didn't have a parrot on their shoulder named Yaga, reference to Aladdin. After the vizier followed the nobles and the priests. The nobles were given plots of land to govern, and they also had to raise soldiers when necessary. Priests were given responsibility of religion and had to appease the numerous gods which the ancient Egyptians worshipped. Then followed the scribes and craftsmen. Scribes were the main people responsible for writing reports, documents, and had to be highly skilled not only to write quickly, but also create the intricate hieroglyphs, which the Egyptians used as their alphabet. Soldiers were responsible for defending the country, and maintaining their numbers required quite a great deal of resources. Craftsmen, on the other hand, created swords, jewelry, pottery, and other items that were used by the army, priests, nobles, and normal people. Finally, in the category we have peasants, servants, and of course, slaves. Each nobleman that was given a land plot counted the peasants, servants, and slaves as part of his property. That treasure excluded women, as they were regarded as unequal to any man. How ancient Egypt became so prosperous? Well, there were a number of factors. First of all, the river Nile was a source of life for ancient Egyptians. It provided them with water for the farms, fish and fresh mud that contained minerals, which allowed Egypt to have sufficient resources to feed its population. Food included wheat, barley, flax, onions, lettuce, lentils, cabbages, radishes, turnips, grapes, figs, plums, melons, and others. They also had sheep, goats, pigs, cattle, and other animals. Beer and wine were also commonly used throughout ancient Egypt. Nobles and other rich Egyptians could afford to eat meat more often, while the poor only ate it during special occasions such as holidays. In terms of clothing, men wore a wrapped-round skirt that was tied with a belt. The material for the skirt was usually made from linen. Women wore full-length straight dresses with one or two shoulder straps. Of course, the rich also had more options in terms of decorations and material for their own personal use. They also wore sandals made from papyrus or palm, while rich Egyptians' footwear was usually made out of leather. Both men and women wore makeup, usually black kohl eyeliner. They would also color their eyelids with blue or green shadow. Henna dye was also used, usually to color their lips and nails. Houses were usually made of mud and consisted of two floors. The rich could also have gardens where fruits and vegetables were grown. Furniture consisted usually of chairs, beds, and mattresses. However, the poor usually sat and slept on the floor. No cupboards existed, and food was stored in reed baskets. Ancient Egyptians had a very different numerical system than ours, where symbols were used to indicate a number. That was the same for the alphabet, where sometimes letters could mean one of the two or three sounds, and the order of the signs indicated what was meant to be read. The art of reading hieroglyphs was lost for over 2,000 years until the Rosetta Stone discovered during Napoleon's expedition in Egypt. It contained 3 different languages: ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, Demotic, and ancient Greek. The code was broken in Jean-François Champollion in the 19th century. Ancient Egyptians had a very solid understanding of mathematics and architecture. They built some of the greatest architectural feats of the world, long before any other have. The giant pyramid in Giza is true marble and is 4,500 years old, a living testament to the power which the pharaohs had not only over their people, but also over the ancient world. The giant pyramid in Giza contains 2,300,000 stone blocks that weigh around 2 to 30 tons each. The heaviest ones weigh 50 tons. It was the tallest man-made structure for close to 3,800 years, 146.5 meters. Huge temples were also created to appease the numerous gods. The most famous ones are the temples at Luxor and Karnak. If you're a serious Sam fan, as I am, you'll remember some of these ancient monuments. The many gods of Egypt. Ancient Egyptians had many gods and goddesses, each with their unique area of responsibility. Ra is the sun god, later merged with Horus, the god of the sky and protector of the pharaoh. Anubis was the god of the dead. He was the god that helped and bound Osiris after he was killed by Seth. Isis is the goddess protector that helps people in need, the wife of Osiris and the mother of Horus. Horus is the god protector of the pharaoh, the son of Isis and Osiris. Also, he is the one who was able to defeat Seth. Osiris is the god of the dead and the ruler of the underworld, husband of Isis and the father of Horus. After being dismembered by Seth, his wife Isis put him back together and he was resurrected. Thoth is the god of writing and knowledge. He is regarded as the one that gave the Egyptians their alphabet. Seth is the god of chaos. He was the one that defeated Osiris and dismembered him. Then he fought and lost to his son, Horus. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to learn more about the ancient Egyptians, please check out the links at the end of this video.